Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to go through standard details and how to create a standard detail. There's a process that we use to ensure consistency with our details, and at the end of a construction document set we'll have maybe 4 or 5 pages of different details that the contractor uses to have more information on how to construct certain items. And so it's important that as we create new things during the process of doing construction documents, that we sometimes turn these into standard details so that we can use them on future projects. And this episode today, we're going to go through how to create that standard detail and techniques to use in doing that to ensure consistency. So let's learn. Welcome back, guys. In this episode, I'm going to show you some of the basics of creating a standard detail and some of the important things to go over. So here's our detail directory, support CAD details, and 2 main files you'll want to consider. This one, the detail title block 24, this is where you're going to grab all your standard details to start a project. And then the detail frame all, we're going to start with that one for this project, or for this video. And then we have a document called Creating Standard Details, and I'll just go over a few of the highlights. The entire thing should be on the 0 layer. Generally the color is white. Things that you want lighter color, you might use magenta or cyan. Text or annotation should be green. Generally you want to draw the shape of the object to scale and then shrink it down to fit in your detail size block. Our details are made to fit within a sheet in a specific dimension, so we don't ever want to change those standard sizes. After we've shrunk it down, shrunk the block down, then we'll add the annotation on top of the block, and it should either generally be M-text or multi-leader in colored green. Once everything's done, we'll verify that it's on the 0 layer and then purge and audit and save the drawing. So this is our detail frame. It has the standard frames that fit within a drawing. Here are how they might fit. This one's a little bit different because we have the dumpsters there, but these 2 standard details, they would fit in that block. So you always want to stick to these standard shapes because they fit within there. So these are the standard shapes. This is the one that we're going to use for this particular one. So I'm going to copy this and bring it over to another detail. We wanted to do a new guard post. So in this one you can see I already have this in there and it's set up. It's the same size. I actually started with the regular guard post or bollard detail, but I need to make a heavy duty one for truck projects. So I took this object, I've redrawn it to the scale that I want. This one's going to be an 8-inch bollard, 4 feet above ground, 4 feet below ground, another 1 foot there. And so I've drawn this object to scale, and it's all on the 0 layer, but I've made the colors a little bit different where I want them to. So I'm going to grab that type B for block. It doesn't matter too much where you pick. Probably in the center is generally best, so that if you change the size, it's going to scale kind of in the same location. And I'm just going to call this heavy duty bollard and click OK. Now this is the old one. We don't need this one, so for now we'll just move this off to the side. I already have my label set up, and as I move this over you can see it's a little bit too big. In this document it says to basically fit it should be about 80%. Where is that? Drawn to scale, taking up roughly 80% of the space in the detail. So I'm going to shrink this down by half, and hopefully that'll fill up about 80% of the space. The reason 80% is because you need to have room for the header, the bottom. Sometimes we have notes on these things, so I just scaled it. That was obviously still too big. That actually doesn't look too bad. I don't really need any notes on this one. So this size looks good. Could be a little bit smaller, but I think it's good the way it is. And then for your LT scale, which is the setting that dictates your dimension scale when you run CivDim or your multi-leader style, which is Civ MLS. For these details, they're just one-to-one in layout space, so you just want your line type scale, to be 1. So when we have a line type scale of run, and then we run CivDim, it sets our dimensions according to that scale. And then if we make a dimension, you can see that basically coincides with what we have there. And then if we run Civ MLS to set the multi-leader style, and then we create a multi-leader, then that looks good as well. So both of those will work. So let's do some dimensioning. Now, keep in mind that this thing is actually a lot smaller, so when I dimension that, it's going to come up with a smaller size, and that's because I shrunk the block down. But we can just go over here to our overrides text, and I want that to be 4 feet. So I'm going to type in 4 feet. And then it's going to be 4 feet down below, so I'm just going to copy this and put it there, and then I'm going to also do it right there. And I want this one to be 1, so I'm just going to manually override it to be 1. And then all your annotation or text should be green, which is just kind of our standard color for anything like that. And I'm going to do this dimension, which is 30 inches. Text override, 30 inches. CG to make that green. Okay, let's look at creating some of this text here. Multi-leader, concrete, dome, top. Eight-inch ID standard steel pipe bollard filled with concrete, paint with yellow reflective paint. I'm going to take out bollard so that looks a little bit better there. Pavement finish grade. Just going to steal that piece of text from the old one. And I guess we could label that again as well. I think I actually decided to change that to 36 inch, so I've drawn it to be 36 inch diameter concrete pier. Which means I need to update this. Maybe make this one a little bit bigger. 0.15. And then I generally like things to line up a little bit better, so I'm going to move these over. Okay, and then when we bring them in to the drawing, we want the insertion point to be in this upper right corner, so that as you bring them in, you can drop them in starting from the right of the drawing going to the left, and then you can start from the top of the drawing and going down to the bottom. So you always want your insertion point to be up in this corner. You can also double check in model space or in a block this UCS is not going to show if you're editing a block. So the way to check when you're in a block is you just draw a line from base point 0, 0, and then it's going to show you where it is. So if it was in the wrong place, you would just draw that line, grab your block, move it from this endpoint to the endpoint of that line, and then you can delete that line. Then you want to double check to make sure everything is on the 0 layer. Run purge in to make sure we've gotten rid of anything we don't need. Audit. Clean up any errors, yes. Print, and you'll name it. So CSP is for Civil Site Proposed, and then our regular guard post I think is GPD, Guard Post Detail, and I named this one GPH, Guard Post for Heavy Duty. We'll print it real quick so we have a record of, record of the detail in PDF. That's easier to look at. Just always do that 8.5 by 11. Look, it's already set up. I'll click OK. And I don't need the temp. I don't want to trim that. I want to leave all that in there so that you can see exactly what it is. And I'll hit OK. There's the detail. That looks good. And then I will save the drawing, get out, and then back to our standard template. I want to put that drawing in here, and I could probably put it under this accessory. Yeah, I think that's probably maybe the best place to put it. So back to my folder system, site. There's the guard post detail that I just made. Let's just grab that PDF, cut. We'll go up to our PDFs, we'll paste that there. And then here is that detail. And so I can literally just drag this into this file. You see how it inserts from that top right. Pick a point, enter, enter, enter. And now it's in this detail template. So make sure to always bring it in. If you create the detail and forget to bring it in here, people won't know that it exists because we have many details. You know, all of these are different site details, grading, BMPs, utilities, erosion, athletic, fuel. So there's many details. If you don't bring it into this drawing, no one's going to know. So that's an important part. And then usually when I save it, I usually just kind of point it to whatever the last change that I was made, so that when people open up that detail thing, they see, oh, hey, there's something new here, and I'm looking at it. So we'll save that. We'll get rid of that. We don't need this anymore. We'll get rid of that. And that concludes the introductory to creating a new standard detail. And make sure to review this document and look at those important parts. I'll leave those highlighted. Thanks so much.